What up? Nehemiah Favors here with BSS Grind. You already know who it is. So let me ask you a question. You ever wonder why your kids don't want to talk to you, right? When they having a little situation or something going on, you ever wonder why they don't want to talk to you, or just in general, y'all got a bad relationship, right? Or not a very good communicating relationship? You probably are not what we call emotionally safe, right? You're probably not an emotionally safe person. Listen to what I'm saying before you keep going. So look, even to my saints and people that grew up in the church, you probably wondered why, or you probably think you understand why exactly, but I'm gonna put a label to why you and your parents don't talk or don't get along too much, right? So emotional safety. All right, so let's talk about a few components. And to my people that's in the church right now, and you wondering how you can build your relationships a whole lot better with people around you, whether it's your spouse or with your children, right? This is a reason why, or this is a way to do it. So look, y'all like my stick? It's a paint stick, but it's my pointer today. All right, watch this. But anyway, all right, so some characteristics of an emotionally safe person will be compassion and grace. Right. So when you dealing with somebody, when you dealing with somebody, these are things that you want to actively be thinking about when you're dealing with a person. Right. I want you to really, really think about this. Compassion and grace. Right. You really want to not kill somebody off so fast. Right. You want to make sure that you're in somebody else's shoes, which is going to bring me to see something from another person's point of view. So another thing would be empathy, right, and understanding. So these two or these four all go together, right? They really all go together. And then of course, keeping an open mind, right? That's gonna be after that. So understanding, and then of course, keeping an open mind. Sometimes, especially dealing with our children, a lot of times we tend to have this, you're gonna do what I say do, what I say goes. And then a lot of times we try to project our feelings and our expectations upon them. Now, what I'm not saying is not have rules and regulations, right? But a lot of times kids are different from us in different ways, right? They're not going to have the same life experiences as us all the time. What we experienced in life, they might not experience. So we have to keep an open mind to who they are. They don't have the same gifts as us. They're not us. So we have to keep an open mind that life is going to be different. They're growing up in a different time than we are, right? We're the adults now, right? And then even our parents before us, they said, well, back in my day, we did things like you ain't back in your day, mom or dad or grandma. We not in your day. So look, keep an open mind when it comes down to what people are dealing with right here, right now. We might say, man, you should be. It's like, oh, watch your language, right? Should is not reality right now, all right? So that's not the best word to use all the time. So look, keeping an open mind is a big thing when dealing with people, right? Especially children. All right. So solution, make sure that you very much focus on the solutions and not the problems themselves. Sometimes it's not best to say, well, how did you, or why did you get it? It's like, look, that's in certain situations, bro, it's just not best to even teach on that, touch on that until maybe later. Right? Because you can create a shame-based environment. You can create a guilt-based environment. A lot of times, sometimes we will be very much shame-based and guilt-based people to where it makes us shut down, right? So you're gonna build more anxiety and depression, and you're gonna attack a person's character or self-esteem, and it's going to cause a major shutdown. It's going to shy a person away from you, right? This is just a technique, I'm telling you. Like, just listen to what I'm saying, right? Solution oriented, all right? Sometimes it's not about how and why. Sometimes it's about, let's just solve the problem, right? What's going on? Understand? So look, active listening, right? A lot of people, you probably haven't heard what active listening is. Look it up, all right? I could teach on this right now, but I'm not trying to make this video like extra super long. I'm not trying to do that, right? But active listening, make sure, I'm gonna do a little bit. All right, hold on, I'm gonna do a little bit. Make sure that your phone is off. Your body language is directed strictly towards them the best that you can. I know we might not be able to do that all the time in every single situation. We might be multitasking, but I want you to try your best to give the person or the child your undivided attention, right? This is how you build the relationship or build the communication. Communication is 93% your tone and your body language. I'm telling you this, right? It's not the words that you say all the time. It's definitely how the message is conveyed. We unconsciously read a person's body language, right? You can say, hey, well, this person just walked into the room and I just saw it on them. You're not certified or haven't took any type of class when it comes down to reading body language, but you unconsciously just did it, right? We look at the expression on your face, right? The way your arms are sitting. If your arms are folded, open up your arms, relax yourself as much as you can, and release that type of the negativity, right? Or the anger or the frustration. Try your best to release that so that you can talk to this individual in different and critical situations, right? Also, watch how you say stuff, right? I'm telling you, watch how you say stuff. Don't be yelling, right, and raising your voice. It might not be the best in this situation. You might feel like you want to do it, but do your best to not raise your voice all the time in different situations, right? We might feel a certain way about something, but our feelings are irrelevant at times when it's to nurture a relationship or communication, right? So in building or reestablishing communication, right, so that you can start to get to a place where your child or the person that you're in a relationship with can talk to you, you have to start to establish some of these things, right? A consistent basis of doing these things, right? So I'm not going to keep talking on that, right? Active listening. Also, personalization and accountability, right? Those things. Don't do that. When a person, because sometimes we might get into a situation where it's actually about us, right? And something that we did or something that they felt like we did, right? Listen to what I'm saying, because sometimes it's not about the truth, right? It's not about the truth all the time. Sometimes it's strictly about how a person experiences us. You know what I'm saying? Because they have certain emotions that they see life through, because a lot of times there is the truth, right? We have the word of God, which is the ultimate truth, right? And then we have our emotions, right? And then we have these messed up emotions, right? Which are basically these thought patterns that have came through some type of trauma or some type of bad emotion, to where now the same situation can be looked at in a different way, all because we looked at it through anger, right? Or we looked at it through shame, right? You understand what I'm saying? So it caused a different experience for this person. If you understand what I'm saying, right? Make sure that you have the ability to not personalize things, right? Even if it is about us, we don't let this go to the negative point, right? And then, of course, also, if it's true, you need to learn how to have this split second or take a few moments to say, hold on for a second, let me process this for a second, all right? Take accountability for your actions, right? It's okay to say, I apologize, I am wrong. I was wrong in that situation. I can see how you arrived to this, right? So it's okay to do that at times, all right? So make sure that you have great accountability. So look, for my saints, right? I really do have something for y'all with this, right? So Ephesians 6:4, right? So I have 3 scriptures to kind of really go along with this when dealing with your children, because this is actually scripture based, right? In order to really truly fulfill these scriptures to its fullest, you need to be emotionally safe, right? Where you're to the point where you're not damaging this other person because you don't know how to control yourself and you don't know what positive versus negative is in situations, right? I want you to hear and understand. So even if Ephesians 6:4, and it says, and ye fathers, provoke not your children to wrath, but bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord, right? You have to look at how God really does us, right? He gives us grace and compassion in situations, right? He's a very, very forgiving being, right? Of course, he can, of course, chastise and bring wrath, but a lot of times you will see that he gave people, or even gave you, a whole lot of grace and compassion. I'm not saying don't hold children to a standard or people to a standard. That's not what I'm saying, because God will chastise you, but You want to do your best in this situation at times to have grace and compassion until, you just done, you done told this child many times to not do something. Then you finna get this hammer, all right? You finna get this, right? But, so with that, right? So this will keep you in a situation where you can breed the right type of communication, the right type of respect and love from the child to know that, bruh, I can take chastisement from him. I can take rule from him. I can respect him enough to and see his point of view. We're talking about child to father, right? That, man, he's safe. You know what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't sit there and do these things. I'm not gonna go through this, but I'm gonna go through this. But hold on for a second, right? Let's go to Isaiah 9:6. So even with Isaiah 9:6, right? Matter of fact, let's Proverbs 18:10 is up already. But look, so I'm gonna go to, so it says, this Proverbs 18, it says, the name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous runneth into it and are safe. The only way we have to run to the Lord, right? It's not a physical running to the Lord. It's through your conversation. It's through you talking to him. It's through that emotional safety. So when you praying to him, cool, he might chastise us. Understandable, but we know that we can go to God, right, and talk to him about what we have going on. You understand what I'm saying? So he provides this safe place for us because he has this track record, right, that we can come to him and talk about things, and he will give us the grace and compassion, the empathy and understanding, because that's why it's a part of why he sent his son down here, right? He showed us that he went through it so you can go through it, right? So you see what I'm saying? He has built this reputation. So in order for us to be like King Jesus and God Almighty himself taking on that divine nature, you have to display these qualities also when dealing with your child, when dealing with your spouse. I ain't going through the spouse portion, that might be a class for later on, saying hint, hint. But when dealing with your child, you must display these qualities also. A lot of us have read the 13th chapter of 1 Corinthians when it's talking about love. And the things that's in that chapter is on this list, but this is a different way of thinking and looking at these things, right? A big thing I want parents to really look at too is the personalization and accountability. I know I just said this, but this is a huge thing that makes it so hard to talk to us, because we get so offended, we get so in our feelings, because sometimes we may feel like, oh, well, I'm not a very good parent anyway. And by them coming to me say that I did something wrong, it's just going to fulfill and show that I am not such a good parent. Now, this is a parent that you're talking to that has low self-esteem or is very unsure about the decisions that they made. So for a child to come to you and say these things, it's only gonna put you in shame, right? And if you watched my anger video, shame was a part of anger, right? Those two things go together. Guilt will lead to anger, right? And then of course we can deflect and, not take the blame when we should take the blame, or be accountable because we're acting in the emotion of anger, right? Or frustration or guilt and all these different things, right? So this will definitely push somebody away, because when you act in these things, right, it's going to go into this right here. You'll start being what we call, I know I didn't go to Isaiah 9:6, right? I know I didn't go there, but I got you. Well, you will start to be what we say overcritical, right? This pairs very much with empathy, understanding, compassion, and grace. This would be a super opposite of this, overcritical. You don't congratulate them when they do something right, or for just being them, right? Congratulating them for their gifts and things that they do good, but you always point out the negative, right? In your mind, you might say, well, I'm just trying to help them. We're gonna try to do this a little bit more different, right? Sometimes the technique that is used is to point out when the child fails at something. Sometimes it's better to congratulate them first and then say, well, you did this wrong. Sometimes it's better to just say, hey, look, you did this good, but I'm gonna show you where you could have done things differently to make sure that you achieve that goal that you want. I just told them with that statement, you did this wrong. But it comes off so much more easy when you word things differently. don't get in a state of mind to where, well, I'm just blunt and they should be able to tell you. It's like, bro, that's a horrible state of mind. That's why your connection is the way it is now, right? Because look at your parents. You probably got that state of mind from your parents, right? That's probably how they talk to you. So now you talk like that to your kids, right? That's a horrible state of mind. That's what has bred this generational curse of not being able to communicate with your child or have a really good standing relationship with your child, even from the older generation. That's a horrible state of mind. So look, watch how you say stuff. Watch how you say. Even the Bible talks about bitter words, or I believe I'm gonna misquote this. I'm gonna misquote this. My bad. But even though it talks about, I think, kind words drive away wrath or turn away wrath. So you understand what I'm saying, right? So you have to talk to someone in a better way. Find a better way to say that you're wrong about something. All right. Sometimes you do have to say stuff outright, but not all the time, bro. You don't have to say it like that. There's no need to say it like that all the time. So look, another one would be dismissive and non-validation, right? So a dismissive person creates a horrible, these things that I'm talking about will create a horrible personality in a child. I'm telling you this. Most of our trauma, a lot of our trauma, the things that mess us up come from our childhood, right? And if you do these things to children, if you're dismissive, right? So meaning that how they feel about something or how they see something, you throw it away and say, well, it doesn't matter, right? You don't let them speak. You don't let them verbalize how they feel about something, right? You are going to create a person that doesn't know how to express emotion. And when a person does not know how to express emotion, you hinder them from having very great relationships when they're older, right? With their romantic partner, if they're able to get one, because they don't know how to express emotion. And relationships are all about expressing your emotions and communicating. You're going to stop this person from learning how to communicate, right? You're going to build low self-esteem in them. Yes, I said build low self-esteem. You're going to cause them to have low self-esteem. You're going to cause them to be a codependent person, right? Because now you're teaching them that everybody else's emotions and feelings matter except yours, right? So you have to learn how to validate a child's emotions, right? It's okay to have emotions, especially to the young men. Teach these young men that it's okay to have emotions. Teach these young men that it's okay to cry, right? But it's about when and where, right? It's about trying. It's about asking for help. If you don't build these things in children, right, you will cause them to be horrible adults. I'm telling you this now. The things that we as millennials suffer with, because we're the new parents right now, right? We have the kids that's in grade school, right? Some of us might even have kids that's just reaching college and all this stuff like that. You will look at how you did. Even so, some of us may know some of the things that I'm talking about, and you can look back on your relationship with your kids. Like, bro, if I would have just did this, this wouldn't have happened, right, bro? You have to teach these kids how to communicate, how to express their emotions, right? And if you don't, I'm gonna go somewhere else. All right. I'm gonna stay on topic. All right. Dismissive and non-validation. Next one is rigid thinking. So look, rigid thinking very much goes along with open-minded and solution-oriented, right? Rigid thinking is basically you get a person that feels like things have to be a certain way all the time, right? If you are dealing with a person that thinks that things have to be a certain way and don't have the ability to really truly let go and move in a different direction, get to the same solution, but a different way, or they don't know how to let go of something that they felt should have happened, you probably are experiencing a very negative person, right? A very depressed person, a very anxious person, right? And you can see it all over them. If you have a person that's really dealing with rigid thinking, it's hard to be around people like that. It's hard to interact and have true, really good relationships, because they deal with people in anger, right? They deal with people in spite, right? They nasty people, right? They try to get back at you, right? It's so many ways that this shows up. So rigid thinking, bro, you have to have some grace. You have to have some compassion. Things are not going to always be the way we expect them to be, right? So deal with your own expectations and realize that it's just not going to be the way we think it's going to be all the time or feel it should be all the time. Should is a horrible word to deal with at times. It's a horrible word to deal with because it keeps us in this, it keeps us stuck in a lot of ways dealing with should. So I'm gonna move on because I don't want to make this too long, right? This last one is blame others. So of course, personalization and accountability. When a child is coming to you, dealing with yourself, right? This can be used in a different way also, but I'm gonna leave that alone. But dealing with yourself and not allowing, and not taking accountability, bro, for what you have done and you blaming them, you really gonna mess this child up. Right, you're gonna mess this child up and you're gonna teach them how to not take accountability for their actions. And then what you're gonna find out is they really mimicking you. Let me not laugh. But look, they really mimicking you. And now both of y'all butting heads, right? Because the child is gonna live what they learn, right? If you don't teach them how to take accountability, well, if you don't take accountability, they ain't gonna take accountability. Or they gonna overtake accountability, right? And they're not going to know how to hold any, what you say, realistic standards to anybody else or any time. They're not going to understand how to establish boundaries for their own relationships. So you're going to have a negative effect either way it go, right? If you don't learn how to take accountability. So last one, this is Isaiah 9:6. So remember saints, these things go to building relationships with your child. It's a serious thing, right? Isaiah 9:6. We're gonna get this real quick because I know Facebook be tripping about me uploading long videos. I'm gonna have to do a part 1 and part 2, but let me get to it real quick. Isaiah 9:6. And it reads, "For unto us a child is born." So this is talking about Jesus Christ. This is prophecy. Isaiah saying, telling to the world, basically. It says, "For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulders, and his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace." Now look at those qualities that Isaiah was talking about when it come down to dealing with Jesus Christ, because Jesus Christ told us that we're going to have to go and do greater works, right? And also Peter, of course, once again talked about taking on the divine nature, right? And of course, our minds we have to take on the mind of Christ. So look, if he was going to be called these things, they're talking about a counselor, right? A counselor breeds an atmosphere of emotional safety. This is why it's so easy for people at times to talk to a therapist, to talk to a counselor. This is why it's so easy for kids to take understanding or direction from somebody else, because they feel emotionally safe. This is why he's like, didn't I just tell you that? But then you're going to listen to them out there in the street. Look at you, probably not as safe as you think you are, right? I'm not saying that that's the case with everybody. Don't take it like that, right? But sometimes we really can. We've probably found ourselves on this list more than what we thought we would, right? And this is not the end, man. We can really dive deep into these things, especially over here on the negative side, man. We definitely can. I know a lot of y'all probably have some horror stories dealing with your parents, right? And you see this a lot in church. This is why you see the relationships the way they are now, because this is not just, like I said, this is not just with child to parent, right? This is spouse to spouse, right? This is, boy, it shows up. So look, all right, man, if anybody got any questions, man, and want to talk more about this, of course, man, you can DM me, go to the website and set up a session if you really want to get some help with the situation, learn how to build better relationships with your child to parents. Of course, I do SEL coaching, I do spiritual counseling, and then, of course, I'm a life coach, all right? Let's get it, man. BSS grind. Let me ask you a question. Why don't you get on the grind, right? BSS grind. We out. Peace.